You're sitting on the couch, scrolling through your phone, enjoying a quiet evening. Your cat jumps up beside you, and for a moment, everything feels perfect. But then it happens. Your cat turns around, lifts their tail high, and presents their rear end directly in your face. You freeze. You might laugh nervously, gently push them away, or wonder if this is some kind of feline insult. But here's what most people don't realize. In that awkward, seemingly rude moment, your cat just told you something profound. They told you they love you. They told you they trust you with their life, and they did it in the most cat way possible. This isn't about embarrassment or confusion. This is about one of the deepest forms of communication in the animal kingdom, and by the end of this story, you'll never see that moment the same way again. The language you never learned. We spend our entire lives learning to communicate with other humans. We study facial expressions, vocal tones, body language. We learn that a smile means happiness, that crossed arms might mean defensiveness, that a hug means comfort. But when a cat walks into our lives, we're suddenly expected to speak a language we never studied. A language written in slow blinks, tail positions, and yes, the occasional presentation of their backside. And the truth is, most of us are failing the class. We misinterpret their signals. We think they're being aloof when they're actually showing affection. We believe they're ignoring us when they're giving us the highest compliment they know. Your cat has been speaking to you all along, in a dialect older than human civilization itself, and somewhere along the way, we forgot to listen. The scent of trust. Let's talk about something you probably don't think about very often. Scent glands. Your cat has them located in some very specific places. Around their cheeks, between their paw pads, at the base of their tail, and yes, around their rear end. These glands produce pheromones, chemical messages that carry information more complex than words could ever express. When your cat puts their butt in your face, they're not being crude. They're offering you their scent signature, their personal ID card, their way of saying, "This is who I am, and I trust you to know me." In the wild, cats only share this intimate information with cats they consider family. With cats they would trust with their territory, their food, their safety, and now they're sharing it with you. The vulnerability they're showing you. Here's something that might surprise you. When your cat turns their back to you, when they present their rear end in your direction, they're putting themselves in one of the most vulnerable positions possible. Think about it. In the animal kingdom, turning your back on another creature is an act of incredible trust. It means you're confident they won't attack you. It means you believe, deep in your bones, that you're safe with them. Predators don't turn their backs on threats. Prey animals don't turn their backs on predators. But your cat, this small, independent creature who could choose to keep their guard up forever, has decided that you are not a threat. You are home. You are safety. And they're showing you that trust in the most literal way they know how. What wildcats taught them? Your cat's ancestors roamed the deserts and grasslands thousands of years ago, long before they ever curled up on a human's lap. And in those ancient times, survival meant communication. Mother cats would check on their kittens by sniffing their rear ends, verifying their health, their diet, their well-being. Cats in the same colony would greet each other nose to tail, exchanging information about where they'd been, what they'd eaten, whether they'd encountered danger. This wasn't strange to them. This was intimacy. This was how they said, "I'm part of your family and you're part of mine." When your cat does this to you, they're not thinking about human social norms. They're thinking in the language their species has spoken for millennia. They're saying what their ancestors said to each other under starlit skies: "You are my family." The greeting you've been missing. Imagine if every time you came home, your best friend greeted you by completely ignoring you. No hello, no hug, nothing. You'd probably feel hurt, maybe even worried that something was wrong. Now, flip that around. Your cat has been greeting you in their traditional way, offering their scent, presenting their tail high in the air as a flag of happiness and recognition, and you've been pushing them away. Not because you don't love them, but because you didn't understand what they were saying. A raised tail is a cat's version of a smile. It's their way of saying, "I'm happy to see you." When they add the butt presentation to that equation, They're not just saying hello. They're saying, I missed you. I'm glad you're here. Smell me so you know I'm healthy and happy. It's the most honest. It's unfiltered greeting they know how to give. The invitation to their world. Your cat lives in a world built on scent. While you navigate your day through sight and sound, your cat moves through an invisible landscape of smells. They know who sat on the couch before them. They can tell if you stopped at a friend's house on your way home. They understand the emotional state of other animals through chemical signals we can't even detect. When they put their butt in your face, they're not just sharing their scent. They're inviting you into their sensory universe. They're asking you, in the only way they can, to understand them on their terms. To step outside your human perspective and see the world the way they do. Where scent is story, where pheromones are poetry. Where a simple act of presentation is an invitation to connection. Why it feels so awkward to us? Let's be honest. It's uncomfortable. We live in a society where personal space is sacred, where certain body parts are considered private, where boundaries are everything. And suddenly, our cat is violating every social rule we've ever learned. But here's the beautiful, frustrating, enlightening truth. Your cat doesn't know those rules. And even if they did, they wouldn't care. Because to them, those rules make no sense. They don't understand why humans are so obsessed with visual appearance and so disconnected from scent. They don't understand why we shake hands instead of sniffing each other. To them, our ways of showing affection probably seem just as strange as their ways seem to us. And maybe that's the point. Maybe love, real love, means being willing to be uncomfortable for a moment to meet someone where they are, what they're really asking for. When your cat puts their butt in your face, they're waiting for something. They're waiting for you to respond. In cat language, the appropriate response would be to sniff, to acknowledge their scent, to show that you've received their message. Obviously, most humans aren't going to do that, and that's okay. But you can respond in other ways that speak their language. You can gently pet the base of their tail, which stimulates the scent glands there and creates a bonding experience. You can talk to them softly, acknowledging their presence. You can slow blink at them, which in cat language means I love you and I trust you too. What they're really asking for isn't awkwardness. They're asking for acknowledgement. They're asking you to see them, to notice them, to confirm that yes, you understand. Yes, you're family too. The love that doesn't translate. There's a bittersweet reality in living with another species. No matter how much you love each other, there will always be moments of miscommunication. Things you do that confuse them. Things they do that baffle you. Your cat shows you their version of love, and sometimes it doesn't look like your version of love. You want to cuddle and squeeze and hold them close? They want to sit 3 feet away and stare at you from across the room. You want to hear them purr and feel them need your lap. They want to bring you dead mice and present their rear end for inspection. And somewhere in that gap between species, between languages, between entirely different ways of experiencing the world, love still manages to exist. Imperfect, confusing, occasionally uncomfortable love, but love nonetheless. What science says about the bond? Researchers have discovered something remarkable about the relationship between cats and humans. When a cat looks at their owner and slow blinks, their brain releases oxytocin, the same hormone that bonds mothers to their babies. When you pet your cat, your brain releases it too. You're literally creating a chemical bond of love and trust. And these scent-sharing behaviors, including the rear-end presentation, are part of that bonding process. They're part of how your cat's brain categorizes you as safe, as family, as home. From a neurological standpoint, your cat's behavior isn't just cute or quirky. It's essential. It's how they build the neural pathways that connect them to you. Every time they show you their scent signature, every time you respond with gentleness instead of rejection, you're strengthening that bond at a biological level. The truth about cat rudeness. Here's what we get wrong about cats. We call them aloof, unaffectionate, independent to the point of not needing us. And yes, cats are more independent than dogs. They don't need constant validation. They don't live to please us. But independence doesn't mean indifference. When your cat brings you their rear end, they're not being rude. They're being vulnerable in the only way they know how. When they knock your glass off the table while maintaining eye contact, they're not being malicious. They're trying to get your attention in a world where they don't speak English. When they wake you up at 4 in the morning, they're not punishing you. They're inviting you into their world, where dawn is the most important time of day. What we interpret as rudeness is often just a cat being authentically, unapologetically themselves. And maybe that's what we need more of in this world. Less pretense. More honesty. Even if that honesty involves butts and faces. The permission to be yourself. There's a lesson hidden in this strange behavior. Something that goes beyond cats and humans and touches something universal about connection. Your cat doesn't change who they are to make you comfortable. They don't hide their instincts or apologize for their nature. They show up as exactly who they are, rear end and all, and they trust that you'll love them anyway. How many of us can say the same? How many of us spend our lives editing ourselves, hiding the parts we think are too weird, too much, too different? Your cat is teaching you something profound every time they turn around and lift their tail. They're teaching you that love doesn't require perfection. That intimacy doesn't mean being convenient. That the people and animals worth keeping in your life are the ones who see your weirdest, most vulnerable parts and stay anyway. A new way of seeing. The next time your cat puts their butt in your face, take a breath. Maybe even smile. Because in that moment, you're witnessing something ancient and honest and brave. You're seeing a creature who has chosen you, out of all the people in the world, to be their family. They didn't have to. They could have kept their distance, maintained their independence, treated you like a convenient source of food and nothing more. But they didn't. They decided you were worth trusting, worth loving, worth sharing their most vulnerable self with. And yes, their most vulnerable self includes their butt. But it also includes their heart, their quirks, their midnight zoomies, their soft purrs in the darkness, and every slow blink that says, "I'm so glad you exist." Your cat is speaking to you in the only language they know, and now finally, you understand what they've been saying all along. The message that never changes, in a world that's constantly shifting, where relationships come and go. Where communication is filtered through screens and algorithms and carefully curated posts, your cat offers something rare. They offer consistency, honesty, a love language that hasn't changed in thousands of years. They don't text you when they're thinking of you. They put their butt in your face. They don't write you poems. They bring you dead things. They don't say "I love you" with words. They say it with their body, their scent, their presence, their willingness to be completely themselves in your space. And maybe, just maybe, that's the purest form of love there is. The kind that doesn't need translation. The kind that says, "Here I am, all of me, weird and wonderful and occasionally gross. I'm trusting you to love me anyway." Your cat has been giving you that gift every single day. The question is, have you been receiving it?